squads out of the 12 participating in this little tournament, and of those 2 squads, they'll be joining the 18 already assembled in Singapore to compete for the Aegis. We're in game number 2 right now between Infamous Gaming and Wildcard Gaming, and this game, Kezu, is much more interesting than people might assume, because this has the potential, if Infamous Gaming can win this game here, it is very, very likely that we are going to be having tiebreakers. Does this add pressure onto them, or does it take pressure away from them, given that the stakes are this high?
Honestly, it might just depend on how, what they've been talking about. What would be good for them is to just take one game at a time. I feel like it should give you more motivation. You know, it's not like, this game is whatever, we're only playing for ourselves. Well, actually, if you win this game, you can force a tiebreaker to still go to the upper bracket. So I feel like it should give you more motivation to, bust out your good stuff, be in shape, talk about the right things, and, have everyone be very energetic.
So far, they've expended that energy by first picking the Undying in this game after having banned out the Visage and the Silencer. We've seen really Silencer's even been elevated in his priority. Now a first phase ban on that hero. Okay, even without the Enigma, that's very peculiar. But what I find very interesting is that Wildcard decided, you know what, Parker, we're sorry, bro. We're stealing the Shadow Fiend this time. Literally all of these are strong strats. This is the Shadow Fiend strat, right? Snapfire or Shadow Fiend Venge plus either Snap or Undying, I think, has been what we've seen so far, Mus.
No, for sure. So, right now, also, what I have to mention in this draft, we've seen SF Venge before. We've talked about it. Now, it's against Bad Rider. When you have Bad against SF, what I want them to do, so Wildcard are like, we're going to one-up you. We're going to take away the fact that you can lasso heroes with the Venge, with the swap. So what I would like Infamous to do now is to one-up that and pick heroes that will later on make it hard for Venge to just sit in the back and do whatever she wants. I've talked about it a little bit in some of the other casts. You do this either A, by having another hero that can help the Bad Rider. So he's not the only one that has to do every single jump, because that makes it very easy for Venge. So you get a second one, a third one. Or the other route you can take also is you have some Broodmother, Beastmaster, Lycan type of heroes that run at the Venge and force him out of the fight.
Just get him out of that engagement. In this game, I suppose Bad Rider will go forward. We've seen these Svens in the carrier role buy Blinks as well. I'm assuming that this is going to be the Parker Sven. So that's another forward-facing option, I assume, from them. Wildcard, though, they will now take the Pangolier. They saw the impact that this had in the previous game. Are they just cribbing strats, man? They're like, oh.
I mean, it does kind of seem to be that way, right? They have 2 of the same core heroes. They have played Snapfire many times before, and I hope that just in this break, potentially they talked about, okay, we're going to take heroes that we want, and we're going to look to take the fights to them. We're not going to sit back and farm for 20 minutes. We're going to have some skirmishy heroes, some right-click, a lot of damage, and we're going to go.
Yeah, go, and never stop. And the kind of heroes they have right now, we saw in the last game what can be achieved with the Shadow Fiend Pango cores. Once they get online, they just never stop going. Infamous. They ban out the Divine Llama Broodmother. So despite being able to beat it last time around, they're like, a lot of us beating it did come down to us having the Spirit Breaker. There's no room for Spirit Breaker in the draft right now, so let's not give them one of their best heroes.
So there's a Lina ban. So they feel like that this Pango could be in the off lane, which I guess is very likely. Divine Llama does play this hero. He can build Vessel, Blink. I'm not sure yet if they had to do that, but I guess Wildcard are very open with where they play the heroes. Again, SF can be a carry, SF can be a mid, Pango can be mid, Pango can be offlane. So just kind of trying to protect themselves a little bit.
Just trying to make sure that they have as many angles covered as humanly possible. At the very end of the draft, they also make sure to protect the Pangolier by banning the Bloodseeker. It's kind of every time you see that matchup, you're just like, wow, y'all let this through. It's rough to play into. What's missing, though, for the side of Wildcard here? We still have some flexibility, whether or not it's alone or Eves on the Shadow Fiend, or hell, it could be either of them playing it, but still playing it through the mid lane or the safe lane. We just don't know for sure. Still some flexibility on the Pangolier. And they have the last pick as well. So it feels like it's quite a difficult pick for Infamous to make first. And it's hard for even us to read, because I'm not sure even Wildcard have decided exactly where these heroes are going until they see the response pick from Infamous.
Yeah, they kind of need to figure out who is going where. Are they content with putting Bad Rider mid? Do you want to put it off lane? If you do put it off lane, what type of mid hero do you want? So if they do put Bad off lane, which I feel like they didn't really ban for, so I would assume that Bad is just going into the mid lane. But if they put Bad offlane, I could see something like an Ember mid. I know that Leo Style likes it a lot, and it gives you like a semi-second hero or second and a half hero that can go in. But I would say that it would make more sense for them to just pick an offlane with the Ench, who's position 4, that allows them to have even more team fight coming into this game.
In terms of team fighting offlaners, we've seen Tidehunter at this tournament, we've seen Mars, we've seen a game or two on Centaur, I'd like to say. We've seen some Axe, we've seen some Darks here, lots and lots of options available here at the end of the draft. Wildcard, though, they are of the belief right now that Infamous Gaming are actually looking for their safe laner, banning Bloodseeker and the Terrorblade. This is somewhat peculiar, right, given what the picks already available are, unless they're imagining like some weird offlane Sven, mid Batrider, and then they pick a straight safe laner.
They thought it could be a offlane Undying, and they seem to be correct. That it's offlane Undying with Sven into a Ench 5 with the Morph, and a Batrider mid is at least what I'm assuming.
Let's see. Batrider mid is indeed the case. Leo Styles playing it. Frank is on the Undying. All right. Wildcard, know what's up. Eves will pick up this PL. There was a long period of time where this was like the way to play against the Morph, right? You go in for this PL hero. Is it still the case that just picking the PL is a death knell effectively for the Morphling? Or does Infamous still have a very strong shout going for themselves with this Morphling, given that he does have some degree of backup from the rest of the squad?
I've not seen the Morph PL matchup that much lately. I feel like with the new Aghanims of Morph, it really changes this matchup quite a bit, because you don't need to find the real PL to click on him. You can click it on any illusion and bye-bye PL. You lose 70 attack speed, 20% of your agility, which makes all of your illusions a lot worse. It also means you're not spawning as many illusions. So I feel like the PL pick is still very, very strong. And a lot of it is going to come down a little bit to these laning stages. But I kind of like what Wildcard have going for them, at least. Yeah, this time around. A lot of team fight. They have an answer to the Batrider, an answer to the Morphling. It looks very solid.
It certainly looks a lot more solid than what we saw in the previous game in terms of them having answers, not just for what Infamous has, but seems like it works better together, right? I can envision a situation where these heroes are peaking at different times throughout the game, doing different things. We can still see this Shadow Fiend building like into the arcane blinks and whatever, erstwhile this PL is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the game goes on. I do like what I'm seeing from Wildcard Gaming, but unfortunately, Kezu, I want tiebreakers.
And you want tiebreakers, I know.
The only way Wildcard get tiebreakers is if they win this game and then continue to 2-0 T1 later, which T1 has been picking up steam. They're looking like a much better squad than they were earlier in the day. So I'm not really sure how possible that's going to be for Wildcard. So I have to go with Infamous. I got to go with Infamous. And also, I've seen this matchup before. Sometimes you play this Batrider, and you just demolish a PL before he's ready to deal with you. It can get kind of funny. Yeah. So we shall see, though, if Wildcard Gaming will be the spoiler for Infamous, or if Infamous will bring us closer to the tantalizing possibility of tiebreakers. Let us find out in game number 2. This is going to be a big one. This is an exciting one. And the most important part about the game, once we get into it, is us doing our predictions, kids. We got half of them right last time. So what do we have this time around? Let's see.
Team with the most runes picked up by 10. I'm going to have to go with probably, Infamous. I think Batrider, they need to help this guy to get runes. I hope that they will play for this.
Given how they were playing around this mid lane last time, I think they are definitely going to end up with the lion's share of these runes. Which team will win? Easy, Infamous, tiebreaker team. Let's go. Total number of trees
destroyed.
How many destroyers are there? So there's Pango, there's Batrider, there's Undying.
Doppelganger, Tombstone.
There's Doppelganger. That's actually quite a lot. So
I'm not sure if it's up to 300 or more.
I'll go up to 300.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And then play with the highest total physical damage done to heroes at the end of the game. Surely Morphling, right?
Yeah, you'll have to take Morph.
Alrighty. Please, guys, just help us out today. You know, Alex did me so dirty last game. Like buying that Aghanim shot.
He did, yeah.
Let's see. As the horn sounds, game is about to get underway. They got a nice ward in the mid lane here on the side of Infamous, and it wasn't scouted out by Wildcard just yet. So that's going to give some good vision towards Leo Style. Talk to me about this mid lane matchup, the Batrider versus the SF. How is this one going to go in general? And what do we expect in this game, given the heroes that are involved and who's going to get helped the most?
So I've seen this matchup plenty of times. So what I see usually is that SF does very well in the first couple of levels. You spam your raises, you always push out the wave, so Bad has no way of really diving you because he has no creeps. You gain stick charges, so you can spam. But around like level 4 to 5, it can become very dangerous from you. And either one who makes a misstep, they can die very easily. So I'm also looking at Eng to potentially look into this lane later because the top lane, this top lane is rough for Wildcard. Eng undying against a +5 Venge PL, there should be a lot of freedom later for Michael to have some moves around the map.
Yeah. Michael, interestingly enough, is playing the +4 Enchantress rather than the regular +5 that we often see being enjoyed. I suppose in this game it makes sense. He can get closer to... Do you remember that secret game? Was it game 2 against Vici, where Puppy was playing that turret Enchantress, so that was really hilarious. Michael can probably get there in a game like this. But my main worry is going to be for this PL. Not just for this phase of the game, but the fact that they're playing this Undying as a core means we're going to have really strong decay early on. And we're going to find ourselves getting to the 10 talent quite quickly. And at that point, PL never has fun with any kind of stat-stealing hero, right? Dealing with not just the Undying right now, but deeper into the game, having to deal with the Morphling as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't bode well for him, the way things are looking at the moment. Bottom lane, Affliction suffering a little bit of damage here, just getting zoned out by both Alex and Double-elimination. Does anything happen in this lane? This feels like a pretty hard lane to apply pressure onto Infamous, right? Morphling Sven, these are not heroes that I envision dying all too often in the laning phase.
Yeah, so I would say as long as Morphling doesn't misstep, he shouldn't really die, which means that, yeah, he should end up being okay in this lane, especially also with Affliction having the Buckler, helping him to get even more bonus armor than he already has. But Double-elimination, he has to also be careful in this lane. He's dropping low. As we say, this Affliction falls.
It's going to be the one that ends up falling first. Tanked a little bit too much damage coming in from Alex. You know, whenever you're playing against this Snapfire in your lane, you always underestimate how much damage Scatterblast does. It's just a shock. You're just like, wow, that hurt, bro. Thank you.
I mean, they have a lot of nukes in this lane, right, between the two of them. Basically 4 nukes, 2 each. They have 2 slows, a stun. But yeah, my eyes are really going to be a lot on the top lane and how free this Eng is going to be to move around the map. Because that is really the difference maker later in this mid matchup is if either of them get any help. And it's a lot easier to help the Bad Rider in this matchup as opposed to the Shadow Fiend.
Yep. It's also a lot easier for the Bad Rider to move off of his lane to come give you help if things do turn in that direction. But you are certainly right, that top, yes, some CS is going towards Eves, but not in a comfortable position whatsoever. Still has the salve to be able to chew through, but with this massive wave coming into Frank, oh, this is heaven if you're playing this offlane Undying right now. You're gonna meet the creep wave a little bit into the tower, but you don't mind too much. You should still be able to clean this up. Life is good, man, if you're Frank right now.
Alright, you gotta be feeling good. Now you just get yourself some more mana regen, make sure you can keep spamming your decays. You have Michael around, just gonna keep slapping them with his Eng, some more impetus. And once Eng does get level 3 going here with level 2 enchant, then I really think this top lane will start to break open even more.
If you are a fan of Wildcard Gaming, that's not gonna fill you with happiness to hear this. As, looking back towards middle, right now we're still drawn up between the two CS-wise. Neither of them have really put a foot wrong so far. It's been pretty textbook, this mid lane. Honestly, one thing that has been very nice about these games we've been casting Kezu is that usually, let's be honest, nowadays mid lane is boring as hell, but it's been much more exciting than what I've become accustomed to in recent times. A lot more like solo 1v1 duels, tons of rotations, hell, even like dual/tri lanes in middle. It's been fun to see this be a lane of activity again rather than just passive farming.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more of a lot of trades happening in the mid lane. People, right, they still rush their bottle with the stick charges as Affliction down bottom. I didn't quite catch that one, but again, I guess just all the nukes coming out and Sven is trying to body a lot for the morph, which he is doing at the end of the day. His morph is doing very well in the lane, but it's coming at the cost of a couple of deaths down here.
We have seen from Affliction though that Affliction does not mind being the one to tank all the deaths for the team. It's like, you know, last game, Wildcard got like, what, 12 kills at the end of the game only? 9 of them were on Affliction. So he's like, well, if I'm dying but nobody else is, I'm probably okay. Just still giving away some unnecessary gold potentially down in this bottom lane. And we just saw in the previous game what a Pangolier can do when given excess gold and how effective he can be on the map. But we're not there just yet. We're still early days for now.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait for that a little bit more. One thing that I do like about the fact, so if you do go for a kill trade and the silence around the 5-minute mark, if you get to TP mid and refill your mid laner's bottle, it increases your chance of fighting for the active rune later at minute 6, but Leo style right now could put some trouble.
Yeah, he's in danger. He got himself hit up with the fire snap quickie. Alex made the long wrap around here into the lane, enabling Alone to be able to get the kill at the end of the day. And the Shadow Fiend, he's like, thanks, fam. Has a little bit of time to be alone in the lane as well before the Batrider comes back. He's the one that got the final right click. And unfortunately for them, they haven't been able to punish for Infamous on any of these side lanes while this was happening. They couldn't make any big moves. They're going to try and go for Divine Llama down bottom. They get some right clicks into him. Waveform is available. Oh, it's not. He went for 2 points Adapter Strike, so no Waveform up. Can't actually kill Divine Llama down bottom.
Going for the aggressive harass style, I guess, with just spamming out this Adaptive Strike all the time with the double Wraith Band, also early band of Elven Skin on the Morphling. As Alone is keeping bottom, he's in this.
He's in this. I don't think they... But there's a sentry. They see him.
Oh, they see him.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. And, oh no, Divine Llama. He comes too close back. Parker just got level 5, so he picks up the 3rd point in the Adaptive Strike. Bursts him away. Divine Llama thought he had a read on how much damage was being done. Instead, he does not. And not only do they fail the rotation with Alone, he has to just watch a Pango die in front of his face.
So I have not seen a Morph go for a 0-3-2 build like this, so that's the only reason why Divine Llama ended up dying here on the Pango. He had no more raindrop charges, and then he got wiped out by the Adaptive Strike, so that definitely took him by surprise. He even has another raindrop queued up right now. That's 200 damage from just this Adaptive Strike that costs 60 mana, so very cost efficient spell.
Certainly is a lot of damage in a short span of time, and it's consistent. You really can't deal with this in the long stretch. Speaking about not being able to deal with stuff, Eves is finding it difficult to deal with the harass coming in right now from Michael in the top lane. Needs the assistance of Sam. At the end of the day, though, we are starting to see the influence of this Undying lane really have an influence and an impact on the net worth of Eves. Not that many CS. He's actually bottom of the charts in terms of core CS and bottom of the charts in terms of core net worth. He's really struggling right now, Kezu. What can they do to try and bring him back into this one?
Well, so it looks like for now they're looking to bring Alone into this lane to help out, but I feel like he might just have to be okay with this for the time being. I even think you want this easy camp to be alive and keep pulling as much as you can because you don't have the best rotating heroes. I don't really want Snapfire to waste his time all too much to come top. He's currently helping with the Rune mid as Affliction does steal it away. So I think for now, this is just PL's life until he gets level 6, and then he can look to, you know, end up laning a little bit, fall back to the jungle, and kind of do a ping-pong game between the lane and the jungle.
Items will certainly help in that endeavor. He can't get any of them at the moment since they destroyed his courier early on, but now Sam definitely in danger. Flesh Golem activated by Frank should be able to easily chase down this Vengeful Spirit. Well, Eves, that is your warning sign, my friend, to leave this lane. Don't be involved anymore. Go do something else. They will scout him out, though. They have a very nice observer ward inside the dire jungle. But that's just going to alert them to the fact that PL has entirely given up on this top lane. The only bright spot is that they don't necessarily push this fast, but they're coming in to try and defend this. Alone, he shows up. He unfortunately finds himself popping the smoke. And Frank, not dead just yet. Alone doesn't have enough for a Requiem. They're not even leveled just yet, but with the maxed out raises, still has enough to be able to bring down Frank. Next victim on the cards is going to be Michael on the Enchantress. So that is 2 heroes that end up getting brought down in the top lane. Alone, certainly this time around, the smoke gank does pay off. However, it is still several heroes on the top side of the map. They need more out of this, and Leo Style might be that more. Unfortunately, he refuses to fall and is able to TP back to safety.
Okay, nice rotation by Wildcard there. They end up saving their top tower. They also get 2 kills, but now Parker in this bottom lane, with Pango having TP'd out and all of them showing the top lane, he's gonna keep trucking down this tower. Even Michael TP's down here to come and help out with the tier 1 tower push.
Michael's also gonna be functioning as a sort of smoke/gank blocker, given their various positionings right now. He even moves up just to make 100% sure that this is the case. Michael, he's the one that ended up taking the tier 1 tower, somewhat stealing it away from Parker, but Parker won't really mind. He's top of the net worth right now, farming very, very freely as this Morphling. Looks like he's just going to go straight in for the Manta style to start things off with. Do you want Manta Skadi this game, or do you want Manta Aghanims, given that they are playing into PL?
I wonder if he's going to change his build. I feel like the Manta itself is not that good. I could see him just go Yasha and then swap it up after, maybe Yasha Skadi. But I personally would just say you just go Yasha into Aghanims. But once again, he's the Morphling spammer. He's level 25. I barely have like any Morphling games at all. So if he decides to go Manta first, then it should most likely be the correct play. As mid, we have a little roly roll.
DPC trying to exert some influence on this side of the map. Unfortunately, we'll very quickly realize that between Leo style dodging half of the damage from the roll and the Enchantress throwing in the Nature's Attendants, there's no real way that you can do anything in mid, so just backs off, stays on the high ground, watching Leo style get further and further ahead in terms of his own farm. Leo style did find himself in a... Oh, actually going to get the lasso out. There's no Rolling Thunder available. There is going to be a swashbuckle in a moment. And unfortunately, they can't keep the full lasso going. Not enough damage as well, thanks to this infused raindrops. So DPC fine.
Yeah, not quite enough damage there. Also didn't have the Firefly yet to combo it up, as he's going to continue to look to play aggressive. It's very nice when you have these boosts of travel heroes with summons, and they have Ench, so he can always go there, as Eves is using some time to run down Affliction here, but soon he's going to realize that, yeah, he's going to have to stop. Just try and get his Diffusal Blade up and running, because for now, I mean, Infamous's game is going very well, right? You have Morphling on the top of the net with Char, just followed by Frank on this Undying, who's once again queuing up the Wraith Pact. I mean, this item is still incredibly strong. It keeps getting nerfed, but this item is just... It's just very good with especially a lot of the meta heroes. A lot of these ranged carries. He is like Morphling, which is one of the best heroes to like buff up their base damage and give them lifesteal.
Now it sort of reminds me of this Wraith Pact item. It sort of reminds me of Batrider. Do you remember when Batrider was absurdly broken, like 2013, 2014 era? And then there was like maybe 4 or 5 years of just nerfs on nerfs on nerfs on nerfs on nerfs, and the hero was still viable. It's just the mere concept of the hero, and in this case, the concept of the item is just way too strong.
Absolutely. I mean, Batrider just, no matter how much you nerf some of the numbers, the fact that he slows your turn rate and that he can like lasso you, right, like pull you out of position and so on, is the concept is just very strong. And also, when heroes get nerfed, sure, over time people get better, so they will still figure out ways to make heroes work, build different items and such.
Absolutely. Right now, though, it does seem like Wildcard want to play around this bottom lane, as they are positioning 3 heroes close to the tier 1 tower. They have the SF nearby in case he needs to make a rotation. But with all of this here, that does mean that there's a little bit of space in the mid lane for them to exploit on the side of Infamous, and they'll try to do so with the 2 heroes smoke between Affliction and Leostyle. Leostyle does have access to the lasso. Eves, oh no, Eves, oh no, Eves! This is the wrong time to be going up the hill, buddy. They do have the Flame Break and the Firefly. Will they find the correct lasso target? They opt not to go for it, seeing the rotation coming in from DPC, who will try to get a counter kill himself. Going onto Affliction with the Rolling Thunder. They're able to immediately get him. Dude, those reactions from Eves, that was really, really good on the PL. He was definitely watching the map, aware that the gank might be coming. If he doesn't react with the instant doppelganger, he is dead, and then things look way worse for Wildcard.
He was very quick, though. I must kind of question the fact that he napalmed that fast on Batrider to give away that he's up there. I'm not... Perhaps they had a high ground ward. I didn't quite catch it once the play was over, who killed it up there. But with that said, to go back to the Morphling who's going Manta, perhaps it has to do with DPC building this Spirit Vessel. So he's kind of deciding, okay, I'll go Yasha. If he doesn't finish the Vessel on Pango, then I don't have to buy Manta, but now that he is, I will most likely just continue to do so. So it does actually make a lot of sense.
Yeah, Vessel, one of these items that you never want to be playing into without a plan as a Morphling. So it definitely does make sense. It makes a lot of sense. Speaking of the farm build for these core heroes, as we see Affliction just getting closer towards getting that Aghanim shot for the free bonus armor for everybody. Feels good. Eves on this PL has finally finished off the Diffusal Blade, getting closer towards getting a Yasha for himself. And then we're going to have Heart, presumably, as the option afterwards. When will he be ready to fight, do you feel, on this PL in this game?
To be fair, I feel like most of the cores in this game are already happy enough that they can go together and fight. Like, PL right now can fight. It's not like his main objective, but he can always like be in a position and posture in a way where at any point he can join his team. Like right now, if I'm Wildcard, I would like to go together with the Pango, the Snapfire, maybe the Venge, or angle up with one more core because you have Spirit Vessel, you have Roll, you have Mortimer's Kisses. There is no hero on the map that will survive this combo if you run into them.
Yeah.
So I would kind of like them to use these heroes, go together, press a couple of their buttons because Morphling is, I mean, he's happily farming away, right? If you're not going to do anything, he's just going to keep hitting those creeps.
Morphling's certainly much happier to do so, and he gets much tankier than PL faster, so it'll be easier at some point for them to kill PL than for Wildcard Gaming to kill Morphling, at least for a time. No big movements being planned just yet by the side of Wildcard. Do you have any items that they're angling towards? Divine Llama wants a Blink Dagger soon. I don't think they should wait that long, but it does seem like that one.
Yeah, definitely not. That's like another 6 minutes. I think for them, all they need to realize is that they are strong enough. Perhaps they would like to wait for the lanes to be in a slightly better position, then they can look to smoke up. And as for the side of Infamous, they're probably quite happy with what's happening. They're close to the Wraith Pact. They do smoke up now with the Manta style, and so do Wildcard.
Uh-oh. Divine Llama's about to show down bottom. He's been revealed by this Observer Ward. So they know that he's either going to be the target or he can't respond in time. Alone is going to be the one that gets gone on in the mid lane. They're throwing in these Morty's Kisses to try and zone them back, but they're not going to care about this. Nice swap back onto the high ground. Alone looking for the Requiem, does get it. Divine Llama with the Rolling Thunder, able to connect onto the Morphling. Parker's in danger. He got off the Strength Morph, but it's not going to be good enough to save his life as Alone finds a double kill. Wildcard Gaming, Divine Llama came just in time, but the main thing is that Infamous just didn't have the damage to kill Alone in the short duration that they found him.
Yeah, I mean, there's also like the swap available as Affliction is going on a little mission here.
If he finds Sam, he will end up getting brought down, granting yet another kill towards Alone. I mean, I think he was trying to kill Sam as revenge. He's like, listen, you're the reason we couldn't kill Alone. You swapped them back too early. What's your problem, bro? But Affliction just gives away more gold regardless.
I mean, you're playing into SF, Venge, Snapfire, and Pango. Like, if you reach too deep into these heroes, they're gonna kill you. Again, I mentioned in... was it the last game or an earlier game? Pangolier loves fights around the Roche Pit. Well, Pangolier also loves if you dive his team, because that basically gives him like a free team fight with a snap ulti raining in. SF gets swapped out, pops the Requiem, which hits like 5 heroes. So this is not the type of fight that you want to take on Infamous. At least not like that. You want your perhaps bad red to have a PKB, get off a little cute lasso without the Venge being too close. And it was right before the Wraith Pact too. But now anyway for Infamous, they're still strong enough that they can look for some plays. And I think later in the game, they should be looking at a Roche because all they have to care about is the Pango roll.
Yeah. Pango roll is the thing that bothers them the most. And that has the greatest degree of influence in these team fights for the side of Wildcard Gaming, especially if they can connect with the Requiem beforehand like we just saw. Divine Llama almost has a Blink Dagger. That fight was very, very good for his pockets. And it's put him in a position where by the time he gets this Blink, then suddenly they'll actually have available options around the Roshan Pit as well. And Infamous will be very skittish about going into it unless they know exactly where Pango is at. I must say, these last few minutes have felt quite positive for Wildcard Gaming, managing to slow things down somewhat. Yes, it's been them that has gotten a lot of the kills. But Infamous has tried so many times here, Kezu, but they've just been failing with these ganks. It sort of reminds me of that Team Liquid game that we saw earlier today, where as many times as Wildcard Gaming were trying to force these big rotations, and as many times as it looked like they were in good positions, for some reason it just wasn't working for Wildcard. This time around, they're the ones that are stifling the attempts of the opponents to get those smokes to connect.
I mean, if you look now, once Divine Llama gets to complete his Blink Dagger, sure, Pango is the type of hero that will maybe lose its lane. Like, you give up a bit of laning power in order to have more teamfight later, and that's going to show now. When he presses R and blinks in with a Snapfire ulti raining from behind, and then SF runs in and just clicks whoever he wants, because he doesn't have to be that afraid on Shadow Fiend. He's going to have a Manta style, he has a defensive swap behind him, so in terms of the team fighting, I think it's coming together very well for Wildcard now.
Wildcard in position to just keep accelerating all across the game. There is a little bit of concern, though, about what starts to happen. Okay, hold one thought. We'll talk about it in a second as Sam will just end up giving up his life here. Parker brings him down with the Adaptive Strike. They need this tier 1 tower. They can't really allow it to go unaddressed. Wildcard, not sure they really want to defend this, though. Alone doesn't have any tool to get deep in the fight. They have Rolling Thunder. but no Blink Dagger just yet for this Pangolier. And he's so close that it's a tier 1 middle. Big tower, sucks to lose, but better than losing in many lives and the tower anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes people struggle with that, but then when you explain it like, okay, do you want to lose the tower or do you want to lose you and the tower? Yeah. People are like, yeah, you're right. We should just give the tower. As now Infamous, they're just gonna get into the Roach Pit. The Blink is flying out, so any delay has...
Oh my goodness! Well, the Blink, it's gonna be picked up directly in the fountain here by Double-elimination as he gets sent back to it by the side of Infamous. At the same time, they do lose Affliction on the north side. However, Wildcard, they recognize that this Roshan is being taken. Can they get into the pit? The Doppelganger illusions will not be there in time. And Parker will finish off the Aegis. Get the Roshan. Okay. Big Aegis, big Roshan. You were just mentioning earlier that this is a play that they can make on the side of Infamous. Going into the Roshan pit. The big worry for them is going to be the Rolling Thunder. It's no worry if you kill him first. Then suddenly Rosh is easy.
Good. Yeah, it was a very nice Blink reveal by Leo Style. I think that he just picked it up. He at first had a BKB queued up, but now he's like, we don't really have anyone that can go in. So in order to take a chance, he's going to go for the Blink. Need to be mindful, at least, because he's still playing against the Venge. So if Sammy Boy is very ready and close by, these lassos will not always work out. But now he's going to work onto his BKB. Morphling has an Aegis, and now that he picked up the Aegis on Morph, he also is swapping up his item build. He's queuing up a Butterfly.
Yeah, he had the Skadi queued up earlier on, but opting to play a little bit more greedily right now with the Butters. All right. Well, like you mentioned earlier, he is the Morphling specialist. We dare not question.
Yeah, he's got to know what's good. He is playing against 2 physical cores, so it doesn't seem too bad. I do feel like there's a lot of the magic damage coming out from the Dire lineup, but I always do like when people they play to the situation. You know, you queue up the Skadi, it doesn't mean you need to finish it. You just want to fight, you got an Aegis, so yeah, feel free to swap up your item build, go something more aggressive or perhaps more greedy to abuse this timing. They have a Wolf Creep right now and Wave Pact. My Morphling is hitting for 370 damage with 45 armor in 20 minutes in the game.
What's the highest we saw? We saw... Who was it that was hitting for 400 the other day at 25?
I'm not sure. Some guy with Beast Aura and Alacrity.
Yeah,
and
Beast Aura, Alacrity. And there was a Vlad somewhere as well. It was pretty nuts. But
okay, Wildcard are definitely looking to defend this. So it looks like they're pushing them back already.
They force them back. Butterfly is finished now out of the Morphling, so he can decide exactly what he wants to build next. On the side of Wildcard, though, his counterpart in the PL is also almost finished his big ticket item. The one that he really wants before he gets really stuck into these engagements. Once he does pick up this Heart of Tarask, the game does get a lot easier, of course. And he's coming back towards his team, almost like he's posturing for a fight. He went home, so there was a bit of miscommunication because the team went forward whilst he went all the way back to base, but doesn't seem like Infamous want to force the issue. They're going to let them have this, let them finish off their items. Do Wildcards smoke and try and make something happen, or do you have to wait until the Aegis expires to make a move?
I feel like you want Infamous to run more on your side. Infamous have this Aegis for 2 more minutes, so I think going too aggressively into them is not that smart. As Sam, my goodness, what was that? Triple hit, 1 adaptive, and he's gone? Yep. Okay, now that they still have 2 minutes on the Aegis, so they're likely gonna come hit your mid tower at some point, and that's when Pango really thrives. When they start running into your area or they're stationary, around the Roche pit. So I think that's what they're gonna wait for, to try and look for a fight. And also a little update on the Morphling. He didn't take the Morph Duration talent on 15, so I don't think he's planning on picking up an Aghanims in this game at any point. Which I have to question, but we'll just have to see how it turns out.
He's literally going the raw right-click build, man. Butterfly into Skadi. And as they return with the Vengeful Spirit, Double-elimination really wants to roll in for the fight, but Parker has already waveformed away. The tower's already been destroyed. Eves is going to be in front of the Morphling right now. Slows him down with the Diffusal Blade. Will, of course, get off the Strength Morph. There's a Tombstone on the high ground, creating some problems. At the same time, Lasso pulls back this alone SF. Waveform coming in from Parker. They want to kill the SF. SF will get off a normal Requiem. That takes away the first life out of the Morphling. Affliction, in the meantime, going deep into the fight, trying to buy space and time. Stuns 2 heroes with the Stormhammer, and they kill off the Vengeful Spirit as a result. He will die immediately afterwards, though. And now Eves, can he stand up against the Morphling, who's come back on the second life, looking for blood? Waveform forward. Leo Style is there. No Firefly, no Lasso. So he cannot present any threat towards Eves. Wildcard Gaming They made the aggressive move happen here through the mid lane, and they get rewarded by being able to take down an Aegis. Doesn't even cost them that much. Just the life of Avenge. Who cares?
Yeah, that was very close to the SF not dying, but I guess since the Morphling was being rolled on by Double-elimination, they were just lacking a little bit of damage to end up finishing alone there, who now has an MKB queued up against the butterfly pickup, of course, from Parker. I'm obsessed about the Morphling build right now, so I assume that perhaps another reason that you don't want to go for the Axe is that he feels like none of his heroes really deal with the PL, so even if he deals with the stats, they have no one to like actively control him. I'm assuming that later he'll go for like a Mjolnir with the waveform attack target talent and then deal with him that way. But for now, the next couple items coming out for Wildcard are going to be very big. They're both queuing up MKBs on their cores against this butterfly.
MKB for the PL, MKB for the Shadow Fiend, and presumably after this is finished, Shadow Fiend will go for the Satanic, make him a lot tankier in this game. Between the Satanic and the Heart, it does guarantee that Parker has to buy the Scotty, so I'm glad he's gone back for this item. But like you mentioned, Wildcard building up into a very powerful force. And another scary thing is that Double-elimination is going for this Lincoln Sphere. And usually, if he dies first, that's when Wildcard lose the fights. The only fight that they've lost like resoundingly is the one that he got taken out first in. But in a situation where he can survive either the lasso, survive the Blink Stormhammer when the Blink does eventually come, then the Wildcard in a much better position to re-engage and just continually roll over Infamous in those fights. Speaking of rolling over, Affliction, unfortunately for you, my friend, you're contributing to the fund of the MKB. You are on the high ground, tanking damage from these illusions. On the low ground, Michael trying to escape. And Double-elimination can't find the angle to roll into him to cancel the TP attempt. Still, just one kill. Still feels nice.
Happens to the best of us. Sometimes we're a little intoxicated. As of course we shouldn't be, but if I look at that driving, it wasn't the prettiest, but you know, it happens around some cliffs. And now, you know, 2k gold lead for Infamous. I feel like these coming fights may just not be that easy for Infamous, really. I feel like they're presented with too many problems. Pango roll, Requiem, you don't have a BKB on the Morphling. I'm just saying I wouldn't want to be Morphling in this game. I'm dealing with PL Illus, a roll, random fire globs flying in my face. It's starting to be a bit scary, I think.
There's a lot of stuff just coming at you thick and fast. And Morphling,
Double
the one...
TP back.
Okay. Kind of peculiar on that one. But, you know, better safe than sorry, I guess. Maybe they felt that this Leo-style bat was just sort of baiting down bottom. And to be fair, there is a full court press coming in from Infamous moving down to the bottom lane, so preemptively it was a good read. The question is, as long as one of them doesn't randomly walk up the hill, there was a very good read. Yeah, that's fine. That's cool.
So they're both sides are going to be looking to play around this next Roshan that's respawning. This is about to be Alone's MKB finished in a couple hundred more gold, as he's working on the Manta style, it seems. So some more illusions for the fight, some more tankiness for him. And Infamous, they're waiting for the Scotty on Parker, which is also a very big pickup for them.
Scotty's coming very, very soon. They should be able to pick it up after bringing down this tier 2 tower in the bottom lane. Erstwhile Batrider did just pick up an Octarine core as well, so really is sticking to this idea that BKB will come eventually. Doesn't feel like he needs it immediately. You a fan of this? I'm like besotted with BKB personally, so I always like seeing the more of it and the earlier the better. But Octarine, what's the rationale behind getting this one instead of the defense of the BKB?
I guess he just might feel like that, okay, I don't really need the BKB to initiate, and starting the fight is feeling a bit strange for him anyway, because he's up against Avenge. So perhaps he wants to play more on having more last souls and more of his other spells casually, rather than just committing to the fight straight up with the BKB. So it's not too bad. I can see the thought process behind it.
He's actually forcing the Firefly, getting rid of a small wave. He'll come back. In the meantime, he's been scouted. Sam knows where he's at, but he's just going to TP out. Very, very lucky that Sam didn't continue the chase. Otherwise,
yeah, that's a psycho TP if I've ever seen one. Gotta be honest.
Playing chest out Dota, man. Sometimes you just gotta take risk. High risk, high reward.
I mean, this guy is confident at least. It's good to see.
It's like, did you ever play that game Mass Effect? Or Mass Effect 2 in particular?
I have not. I know the game, but I have not played it myself. Sorry to break your heart here.
Anybody in chat who's played Mass Effect 2 in particular, you'll know what it's like to play Vanguard. You just go in. You'll worry about anything else later. It's fine. Go in. As a 2K gold lead, Roshan is going to be up again in a solitary minute. Wildcard Gaming has some illus in the pit to try and scout this one out. Infamous not aware of this just yet. How bad is it for Infamous if they give up this next Roshan and Wildcard has access to an Aegis on the Shadow Fiend and then who gets the shot actually on the squad?
Quite horrible. I mean, for either team to give up the second Aegis or to lose it in any capacity is really bad. They both won it on their carries, especially Infamous. I mean, they only really have one good holder for the Aegis, and it's Parker. He would also love to pick up the shard himself, give himself some more bonus stats. And I really do think if Wildcard get to claim the Aegis, I feel like it's really their game. Where if Infamous get it, yeah, it helps them a lot, but I feel like it still doesn't seal the game for them.
They're going to smoke up right now. 4 heroes on Infamous. They have left Frank through the mid lane to show a little bit. And they're hoping to try and get a surprise wraparound here with Leo style. Unfortunately, the primary target they would love alone is also next to the primary save as well. Sammy, puts himself in perfect position to break the smoke. Will die in the blink of an eye. That will give Wildcard a little bit of time to retreat. And with these illusions, Eves will make sure to cancel out the blink dagger on this bat. But that will open up the path to Roshan. No buyback available for the Vengeful Spirit. Tombstone also dropped down. This is deja vu here, Kezu. We saw this exact same situation last time, but maybe not with these Morty's kisses raining in. Divine Llama thinking about the role. Not going to go for it yet. Bat Rider finding out
lasso
onto Alex the lasso. And that's a kill. Buyback though coming in instantly. Divine Llama, look how much damage he took from the raining arrows of this Michael Enchantress. But at the same time, Bat Rider went too far forward. He dies on the high ground, drops the gem as well. And Michael, impetus or no impetus, they're probably going to end up dying here. They let the chase go because there's a bigger prize at hand. They would rather have the Roshan. They know that he's very, very low to dying. They throw out the Requiem just to cover the space. And they get the Aegis. Eves is the one that picks it up. And we get the alone shot instead. And they're going to come back and collect the gem dropped by the Bat Rider on the high ground.
I mean, nice. I like the way that Wildcard went about this fight. So they start scouting with the Mortimer's Kisses and kind of force Infamous to stop. The Peel Illu start clearing the Tombstone in the pit. And I think it was very, very smart by Davalama to hold the role. Because as long as he's holding it, it's very hard for Parker to commit to the fight, right? You're playing into this SF who now is an MKB. You don't have a BKB yourself. So just good job by them. And I think the next lassos to come, especially if Venge is dead, they need to land on core heroes. You cannot pull it out on a Snapfire who already used his ult and very likely has buyback. Like, both teams know the fight was all about the second Roche, so it would be kind of foolish to assume that the enemy team, especially on at least one of the supports, isn't holding a buyback.
They certainly get punished for their assumptions here. And as a result, Wildcard Gaming claim the Aegis. And the gold lead trending in their direction. Experience lead already theirs. And even more difficult to deal with is the win probability, 63% as it stands right now. Just for context, before that fight, because I checked just before the fight happened, it was 53% before the fight. It jumped a whole 10% by the goings on around the Roshan pit. And that certainly does make sense. Now the Morphling, he has the Skadi, he has the Butterfly, he has the Manta. But you know what makes every Morphling player super, super sad here, Kezu? Gotta buy the BKB. No other option, bro.
No, absolutely. I mean, he has all this net worth, but if I had to guess, his damage done in the last 10 minutes has got to be very, very low. He's not getting to hit, as Leostar bottom is found out for now. Still has no BKB, Lincoln 1.
He has the Blinken 1, gets the lasso off as well to try and waste some of the time on the Rolling Thunder, so he's not being targeted directly. It will be good enough to save his life, and because he did cash out for that Octarine earlier, it'll be available sooner than expected. So it's not too bad for him, and they're actually going to smoke up immediately. Look what they've got now for Affliction. He's just picked up a Blink Dagger on this Sven. So they're going to try and use this. Eves is the target middle, but Eves has an Aegis, so can't really walk into him. And did Affliction just walk straight in and press the smoke?
Like, he thought he thought it's fake. He must have. He must have thought it was just some fake PL illus as, okay, Sam is down. Which means Lasso, never mind, it's on cooldown.
Yeah, unfortunately, Divine Llama forced them to use it earlier. Here comes Alone though. They need to be careful about the positioning. Waveform forward as well as an impetus shot. They actually managed to get the kill. But Alone finds the Requiem out. Eves is here with the damage onto the Morphling. Parker's just gone.
He was morphing into Agi. Like he didn't know the Requiem was coming, and right as it popped, he was starting to morph down.
Oh no.
Unfortunate timing for him.
Yeah. Literally the worst case scenario, because whilst you're feared, you can't stop the morph from happening. It just keeps going. Well.
Because that actually started out really well. You get the Sam for free. You also kill the Pango. So if that Requiem like doesn't clip you there, or you get to morph up to strength, that could be pretty good. It could have been pretty good for them. But nice Requiem from Alone here, out of his Shadow Blade, and then yeah, they just clear him out, and now no more for 40 seconds.
No morph and no buyback. 35 seconds is a very long time to try and defend against an SFPL. Might be going forward here. Affliction did get a pretty nice Stormhammer out, but there's no way you save these buildings. Tier 3 has fallen, melee racks should follow. And they'll cotton on to the fact that there isn't a buyback available from the morph, so they'll mosey on very happily in through the jungle, through this mid lane, not having a care in the world. Feels like
Leo style on the off screen, kind of killing Sam, who now has a dieback, so he's out for 1 minute. And you mentioned the Blink Dagger on Affliction earlier. The way Infamous have to take the next fight, or what they need to be talking about right now, is okay, how do we enable a team fight where my bad rider can lasso who he wants, and then we kill this target? So the way they do this is that they should look to lasso Alone. He might be getting an entire Linken's right now, so even this play may be gone. Because what they should be looking for, if Sven doesn't die.
Well, Sven... Oh, he's fine. He's fine. He's TP'd out. He's okay. He's okay. He's not in trouble, so he's cool.
That's true. That's true. I didn't say he's in trouble, so he didn't end up dying. What they need is Sven needs to go on the Venge. You stun him. At the same time, Bad Rider gets a lasso, drags the target into the Morphling, and the Morph shreds him.
Because we've just seen that Morphling, when it comes to just raw output of damage in a short span of time, he certainly can do it. He's just never given the opportunity to be able to outlay said damage. But like you mentioned, Alone, going for a Linken Sphere. Not going for a Linken Sphere, has it. It's available, it's up, it's ready. Divine Llama, going for one himself. Soon he'll have a Linken Sphere. Dual Linken Sphere really complicates life for the Bad Rider. You were mentioning earlier that he needs to get these lassos onto a core hero. Can't just be onto a support. So if two of them have access to the Linken Sphere and the other one is PL, who should never really be in a position to be lassoed in the first place, feels very difficult a game for the Bad Rider.
Yes, it is really difficult. Like, unless they help him or they find a really sick timing with like a smoke where they catch him off guard, you cannot really ask him to get those lassos off. Because not only does he need to lasso a hero that is Linken's, you also at the same time need to lock down the Venge from not swapping out the lasso target.
Speaking of Venge, it's going to be a big flame break. The lasso will go out onto Divine Llama, who rolls up as Sammy Boy, able to get the swap, disabling the lasso. We get a quick kill onto Frank as he gets right-clicked down by the SF. And Morphling, not sure he can take this fight here, Parker. Affliction's going to try and help you out, but Parker jumping in onto Alone with the BKB, able to get the kill. Sam will die as well to the impetus shots, but Parker tanking damage from the PL. He used the Manta to get himself out of the Bloodthorn, but he could not escape the Morty's kisses as he ends up dying regardless. It's a 2-for-3 exchange here, as we did have a buyback from Affliction. Leostyle flees to the north of the fight on the Bat Rider, and he's allowed to TP to safety. But my goodness, Infamous Gaming, they try to hold their ground, and at first it was looking good for a moment. During the BKB duration, that Morph looked so strong. But the second it ended, Kezu, gets shredded apart.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see it here again, right? You have Leostyle going in with the lasso, but of course the swap comes in, and just look at how disruptive this Pango is. He's gonna stun the Morph, force him to BKB, takes so much damage from him, so then Parker ends up manning up, but eventually once his BKB runs out, it is hard for him to take these fights. And I need to remind everyone, Wildcard are playing a dual-core lineup where they're both scaling really well, so sure, they lose one SF, who cares? You play against Infamous, who are so reliant on this one Morphling, so if you can keep trading like this, it favors them so massively. Especially
if after your trade, you can start a fight inside the base. Lasso to the fountain, though, during the Rolling Thunder, and that's actually going to kill him.
That always helps.
Okay,
fountain
now they have to be
strong.
Good boy, Fountain. Somebody tip the Fountain, please. Show some respect.
very true. When you can't kill them, you just drag them to the fountain, right? It will always work out.
So all he needs is to just make sure that he always does that on Leo style, and then it's fine.
Yeah, it's pretty
game
simple.
Is easy.
Yeah. Maybe,
easy.
you know, you lasso them back, then you adapt to strike with full strength to push them even more. It's a really cool combo. Very easy.
Everybody should be able to do it. I don't see an issue.
Okay. Moving forward, I wonder if maybe Leo style just needs to get an item that breaks Lincolns so that he can force to go on the SF. I feel like with how the fights are progressing and how this game is going, if you go on any of these, like if you kill the Snap or the Venge, cool. Like, it's cool, okay? And you get to use your lasso, but it's not gonna make you win the fight. You need to go for the bigger plays and itemize for what's important. Like, I would even like to see Ench build a Mjolnir as hold that.
Okay.
Double
Nice
stun.
little 2-hero double stun with the magic missile. They still end up killing Sam quite quickly thanks to Parker. Now Parker wants to turn his attention towards Eves. Fighting here on the low ground, but Alone has shown up as well. They haven't thrown out the Requiem because they noticed the BKB, but he has to run himself away.
That's
Parker,
a
be careful.
DDSF.
That's a DDSF. He's going in. Here's the Requiem, throwing back Frank, and the right clicks will come in thick and fast. He does get forced off more towards the safety portion. Thanks to the stolen Undying Tombstone is creating space. Now we have the jump in onto Alone. Leo style trying to kill him with the lasso, not able to do so as Eves, he's just running down Frank past the lasso. Alone almost killed Leo style, but he blinked away at the last second and he's forced to go home himself. Alone could have died, survives the fight on a mere 200 HP. The stolen Tombstone from Parker is the only thing that prevents Infamous from not suffering a devastating loss in that fight. But even then, it came very, very close to them losing everything.
These fights are actually kind of crazy. Like, the thing is though, for the wildcard heroes, they just keep getting to dish out all this damage with their two cores because the more you can't really stop them. Yeah, in the start of the fight, he does get to hit the real PL. But once he has Doppelganger available, he just gets out. The heart gives him full HP. And unless they're getting lassoed, I don't see a way for Parker to really get them killed.
Parker trying to do the most right now, but unfortunately, there are limitations to what can be accomplished all by your lonesome. Like you mentioned, there's this dual core lineup on the side of Wildcard Gaming. Not to mention the influence that the Vile Llama has had in these fights. But now Wildcard will back off, going into the Roshan pit. Look how quickly the big man dies. What? Okay. Cool. Fair and balanced.
There's a couple of minus armor coming out. You have Wave of Terror, you have Lucky Shot, the SF Aura, and a Bloodthorn.
Yep.
He does die pretty fast.
It's a boosted SF as well. He got the damage talent at 20. So,
Yeah.
now they have to deal with an Aegis, have to deal with the cheese, and who picked up the refresher shot? Of course, it's going to be Divine Llama. So now we have double Rolling Thunder, and we've seen just how influential the spell can be in the midst of these team fights. It's very, very scary. Here they come. The push through middle. How do they stop this, Kizu? What's the plan?
Once again, I feel like unless you create a scenario where you go on the SF, you're not stopping it. And this, I feel like they're not ready. They have not itemized to stop the SF. So I feel like them just watching them take the rack seems... Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that surprised that this is happening right now. I don't see how they stop it.
They're coming for the final racks. They get the last two out onto the
Fountain?
PL. Swap back immediately because Sammy is there. So they protect the PL. They get the Megas in the process. Eve's trying to run himself away. Still has his Aegis, so not too concerned about dying. Alex gets himself the Fire Snap Quickie onto the high ground. Infamous, they have to know that you cannot chase too far forward for this one. If you do, you will be punished. So they have to allow Wildcard to leave despite ending up in a situation where they've given up the Megas. For Wildcard though, they still have an Aegis. The only thing that they need is one pick off here. Just one. That's it. None of the Morphling doesn't have buyback. Batrider doesn't have buyback. Enchantress doesn't. Sven doesn't. Only the Undying has buyback. So if anybody else dies, suddenly you're playing 4v5 and it's a lot easier to siege the base.
Yep, and they're smoked up. They know that PL can just sit in the front line. You wait for Pango to have an opening and he can just roll in there.
Eves fading them out. Okay, we get Morty's Kisses
Gobble
being
up.
reined in and a Gobble Up as well coming in from the Snapfire. Divine Llama went forward with these illusions. They're able to bring down Affliction. No Sven, no buyback. Divine Llama goes in right now. Parker, BKB activated. He really wants to kill some targets. He's able to force a dieback out of Sam, but Ease is going to turn his attention back towards the Morphling. Morph, he needs help. He needs a miracle. But miracles are in short supply today. He does have access to the buyback thanks to getting the gold from the Vengeful Spirit kill. That might be enough to zone back Ease, who's now been lassoed up. There's no salvation this time around. But at the same time, Parker, he TP'd outside the base. Parker's dead. Parker died back. And Parker calls GG. Oh my goodness. It was looking so good. Infamous finally found a kill onto the PL in their own base. There wasn't a venge for salvation. But Parker leaves the squad. So Infamous end up getting punished. Kezu, what a way to lose a game.
Yeah, I think even if this fight goes very well, it's still very hard to come back from this. I didn't quite catch what happened at the very end. I guess we just TP'd far back in like